Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed about the practices of irrigation, that how the plants they require water for their proper growth and development, and the irrigation practices are to be implemented, are to be practiced from time to time according to the need and requirement of the crop plant. Today we'll discuss the next practice, that is crop protection. Obviously, we know the plants which are growing within that particular piece of land, they are susceptible to different types of life forms. Out of those life forms, there may be plants itself that may be competing for the requirement of nutrients. So that we have to discuss in this topic, that is protection from weeds. The unwanted plants which grow along with the crops are called weeds. Many of the times in our gardens we have seen, if we are growing any such type of plant or flowering plant or vegetable plant, we have seen that certain types of wild group of plants they grow very naturally. We do not plant them, we do not try to grow them, but they grow in a natural environment through natural process. So they are called weeds, and the removal of weeds is called weeding, because it is necessary as weeds use up the nutrients which are meant for the crops. They also compete for water and light and thus affect the production of the crop. You may see in this pot, I have grown a chili plant. I am providing the manure, I am providing the water also. But in the natural way, what do we observe? That these types of unwanted plants, that do they also grow along with this growing plant. So what? They are called weeds, and the removal is very much essential. If we will not remove them, it may compete for the nutrients, water, manure, minerals, as well as if they will grow up, they will cause shade. They will not let the sunlight to fall upon the leaves of this particular growing plant, and that will cause the hampering in the growth process. So the removal of the weeds is very much essential, and the process is known as weeding. The weeding can be done by the following methods. First is manual removal. Weeds can be removed by uprooting unwanted plants with the help of trowel or khurpi or harrow. It should be done carefully so that the main crops or plants do not get damaged. Just you may see here, this unwanted plant, I have to uproot it very carefully so that it should be uprooted, but it should not damage the plant which is being grown within this pot. So this would be called as manual removal, and that has to be discarded. The next process is tilling before sowing. Tilling, we have discussed, that is also known as plowing. So plowing the field before sowing the seeds, it helps in the uprooting of weeds, and weeds then dry up and then get mixed up with the soil. So it would be acting as a green manure also. The third process is weedicides. The weedicides are certain chemicals which are capable to kill the weeds, but they do not harm the crops. These are sprayed on the fields. The farmers should take care of themselves while spraying weedicides, as it can adversely affect their health. As these are toxic chemicals, they may cause adverse effect upon the health of the persons. So while using these chemicals, we have to be cautious regarding their use. The second aspect is protection from pest. Crops are exposed to many factors such as stray animals, birds, and insects. Animals and birds can be scared away by beating of drums and fixing scarecrows in the field. So many of the times we have seen in the fields that certain types of structures they are being erected, that do we commonly call them as scarecrows, and that are used to keep away the stray animals, for example birds, so that the seeds can be left in the field for the proper germination. However, there are some organisms which specifically attack and damage the crops. So these organisms are known as pests. They may include rats, locusts, weevils, larval stages of some insects, and termites. So we have seen when we purchase certain types of vegetables made at brinjals or bitter gourds or some other leafy vegetables or some other vegetables, we have seen that certain types of worms may be present. So that are what? They are pests that will cause damage to those products. They will cause the deterioration. They will cause the deterioration in their quality also as well as quantity also. So chemicals they are sprayed on the crops to kill such pests, and these chemicals are called as pesticides. Spraying can be done manually or by a small aircraft, and these chemicals they stick to fruits and vegetables and are also absorbed by plants. So the farmers they have to be cautious regarding while spraying these chemicals, because if they are sprayed and just if it is plugged and it is collected and sold to the market, made that the chemicals that would be present upon the peels of these fruits or vegetables, they will enter our body through food chain. So after certain intervals or certain interval of days, it is advised that those fruits or vegetables should be plucked from the parent plant. They can therefore become a part of the chain. It is for this reason that the use of pesticides must be kept to bare minimum. Do you know many farmers are now using biological methods of pest control? In this method, some living organisms are introduced in the fields which selectively feed on pests without harming the crops. So, biological methods of pest control, it would be a very much playing a significant role in the removal of these pests, because they will not harm the environment also, as well as they will increase the productivity of the plant products. For example, many species of birds, ladybird beetles, and wasps are used for biological control of pest. Just like you might have heard about certain types of larvivorous fishes which are cultured in ponds, so that the larvae of the mosquitoes which causes the different types of diseases like malaria, they should be consumed by these larvivorous fishes. So that would be also come under the biological methods. So just like in the fields also, certain types of species of birds or ladybird beetles or wasps can be reared for the biological control of pests. Next, we'll discuss the topic that is harvesting. Harvesting and gathering of crops after maturation is known as harvesting. Now, as the crop plant has grown, it has developed the product, it is ready to be removed from the field. So, that process, the cutting and gathering of crops after maturation, is known as harvesting. Fruits and vegetables, they are plucked with hands. Harvesting of crops like wheat and rice is done with the help of sickles. So this one is the sickle. With the help of this instrument, it can be done manually. And after harvesting, grains are separated from the cut crop. This process is called threshing. So as the crop plants, they are cut, and after that Cutting. The removal of the grains from the cut crop is called as threshing. This can be done manually or by a machine called thresher. In large fields, a farm machine called combine is often used, and this machine can do both the harvesting and threshing simultaneously. So here in the picture it has been shown a combine harvester through which the farmers they may do both the practices, which is harvesting and threshing. So that can be done simultaneously, and that will try to minimize the time, and also it will increase the output. After threshing, grains are separated from the chaff. This is known as winnowing. In the picture you may observe a person is raising the grains up to a certain height, and within that grain certain husk would be present, and that is being fallen down from that certain height. Due to the presence of air blow, the chaff would be removed, it would be blown away to far off places, where the grains it would be heavier, it will fall down just below that. So this process is known as winnowing. The mixture is dropped on the ground from a height. The heavier seeds fall vertically down, while lighter chaff is blown away to a distance by the wind. Next is storage. Harvested food grains often contain more moisture than is suitable for their storage. Hence, these grains are sun-dried before storing. This prevents growth of microbes on them. So if you may have visited any rural areas during the season of harvesting, you have seen that the farmers they may be sun drying their products that they have got from the crop plants. So farmers store grains for their own use. So obviously they have to be sun dried so that the moisture within the grain should be reduced, and it will help the grain, or it will help that particular product to retain its qualitative as well as quantitative value. So farmers store grains for their own use. Rest of the produce is sold to the government or private agencies. Large scale storing is done in granaries and silos, which are designed to protect grains. So in the picture you may see where silos are being shown here. There the grains are stored in a proper and in a channelized way so that it can be stored for longer duration, and it has to be protected from rats and insects. This is done by Food Corporation of India and state warehousing corporations. Fruits and vegetables, because of their higher moisture content, get spoiled easily. So fruits and vegetables, on the other hand, they are having very much higher moisture contents, means they are having higher water content within themselves. So we cannot preserve them for longer duration. So they get spoiled very easily. On a commercial scale, such perishable items, they are stored in large scale storages or deep freezers. So on commercial scale, they are stored in deep freezers or large cold storages so that it can be retained for up to certain number of days. Thank you till so far here. In the next class, we'll discuss about the technique crop improvement.